So why do girls like guys who wear shirts with 8 buttons?
They don't.
And then, so we're going to go down to the second letter A. See it here? It's the -7 times quantity 1 minus 4m. That looks appropriately ugly, doesn't it? Yeah. It really looks icky. So, this is the second letter A, so I'm going to call it A prime. So it's like A with a little 1 yet next to it. So we get -7 times 1 minus 4m equals 13 times 2m, excuse me, minus 3. And that's what we call a given. And I'm going to have to write small this time because I made it so big. All right? That's our given. It's A prime. It's the second A on the sheet. All right? So what do you want to do first?
Distribute it.
How about if we take care of subtraction first? Let's add the opposite first, because if we do that before we distribute, you're going to find distribution is going to be a lot easier. So let's add the opposite. You guys can do it in your given step if you've written that on when you write it on your paper. I'm going to actually write an additional step so there's no question what I've done. 2m plus -3. Then we're going to distribute. We're going to use the distributive property to distribute. So -7 times 1 is? -7 plus -7 times -4m is? Positive 28m equals. Notice how I always line up my equal sign. That helps you remember that everything is still balanced. 13 times 2m? 26m plus 13 times -3? -39. All right, so what you want to do is get all your variable expressions on one side. And because there's addition between every item, doesn't matter what you do, but you're going to add an opposite. And one of the things I like to do, there's no rule. You can pick whichever one you like. But I'm going to pick the smaller of the two, so I end up with a positive variable expression. So move variable expressions to one side. So you add the opposite. Okay, so I'm going to add a -26m to both sides. So we get -7 plus 2m equals -39. Everybody see where that came from? Now we're looking at a standard two-step equation. All I did was move the variable expressions onto one side. And I could have added a -28, but then I would have had a negative variable expression, and if I don't have to deal with the negative, I don't want it. Okay? Now what do I want to do? We're in a regular two-step equation now. I just want to get this guy by himself. What's it called? Isolate the variable expression. I'm going to isolate the variable expression. So how do I do that?
You isolate it?
I isolate it by add what?
Add 7 to both sides.
Add 7 to both sides. Beautiful. So 2m equals -32. Then what do I do?
Isolate the variable.
Isolate the variable. Excuse me. And how do I do that? Divide both sides by? 2. So m equals, what does m equal? And then I solve. Negative
18.
16.
Oh,
M equals negative 16. Then go back to the original problem. So then do your check.
Everything has to do with overall solution.
Because they're operations. 4 times negative 16, I'll make those brackets, equals 13 times 2 times 16, negative 16 minus 3, that was appropriate. So negative 7, 1 minus negative 64 is positive 64 equals 13. That's negative 32 minus 3. So negative 7 times 65 equals 13 times negative 35. Negative 455 equals negative 455, and that is a check. And that was, we were checking it there, there, and there.